Powered by Riverside.
Welcome, everyone, to the Talking Tech podcast. I'm your host, Devin Price. And here on the Talking Tech podcast, we exist to provide a platform for rising and thriving talent in tech. I've been in tech and really the cybersecurity industry for a little bit now. And since I've been there, two types of people have really begun to have my heart. One is the people who are trying to get into tech or in this case, cybersecurity, who want an opportunity to showcase their skills, but don't have it. And then also the other group of what I call thriving professionals who are in tech, who are in cybersecurity, doing great things, but maybe not a lot of people know what they're up to or how they're kind of navigating the space. So that's what this platform, what this podcast is all about. So on today's podcast, I'm getting the opportunity to interview Carval. And before we kind of get and talk about Carval, I'm just going to give you guys his bio so you have an understanding of where he's coming from. So Carval has a passion not just for IT and cybersecurity, but to also help others stay ahead of cyber criminals and finding resolutions to help educate and keep people safe from cyber crimes. His journey has been amazing as he's transitioned into tech from the logistics industry. In his current role as an IT technician and system administrator, he helps troubleshoot devices, software and hardware installs, network communication issues, and also provides technical support for over 300 plus users. He is CompTIA Network Plus and Security Plus certified. And in his spare time, he works on home lab projects to help gain experience with different systems, to add necessary skills, along with continual learning through certification courses. Carval, welcome to the show. How are you feeling?
Feeling great. Pleasure to meet you. It's been a while. I know we've talked back and forth for a while. It's just a pleasure to be on your platform. I appreciate it.
Yeah, glad we could finally touch base. I know we're both very busy, so I appreciate your time. So going off of the bio there, how did you initially get started in the logistics industry? How did that happen?
Well, around 2020, back when COVID really took place, I was laid off. I actually was a pest control technician beforehand. I was a licensed pest control technician. I'd done that for quite some time, and I got laid off. So in my downtime, I was just looking for different avenues, different ways I could make money to kind of get back on my feet. And it landed me into the logistics industry. And I was a delivery driver for a few years.
Prior to that.
Mm-hmm. And while delivery driving, I would come across different cybersecurity podcasts. I would come across different YouTube channels on cybersecurity and just technology in general. And when I would make my rounds, making my deliveries, I would just learn more about tech. And here I am,
So let me break that down. So you said you originally started out as, you said, pest control?
Mm-hmm.
And what is that, just for everyone that doesn't know?
So a pest control technician, my job was to go from, we really didn't do a whole lot of residential projects. We had commercial projects. So I would inspect schools, businesses, restaurants for pests, roaches, bed bugs, stuff people really don't like. Yep.
Got you. No, sorry. I wanted to make sure that I was hearing that correct. Okay. So that was what I heard.
Yep.
And so before we go on to you going into logistics, when I hear pest control, I'm thinking of, I have to go into unknown environments, which I guess prior to the job, had you ever been on that site before? Like schools or restaurants? Okay. So, so you basically, in that pest control, position, you had to go into unknown environments that you were not aware of before, basically looking for, you could say adversaries.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. That, maybe some of your clients had an idea of where they were. And honestly, I'm sure probably on some of the project, you found some of the pests that's we didn't even know they were there.
Yep.
Wow, so that's great. So that, honestly, you can already see, I can already see like before you were in tech, before you were in cybersecurity, I can already see those gears of like
Hmm.
where are the threat actors, where are they coming in, how do I prevent them, how do I mitigate the risk? So it's wild. Okay, so you go into logistics, and so then at that point, you said you were listening to, I guess, podcasts and all that kind of stuff. Did did you just like, how did you kind of get into that world? Did you have a podcast that you heard about, or just like Google and just go?
No, I'm a big sports guy. I love sports,
Yeah,
and just my YouTube feeds, I would come across different IT stuff. So
yeah.
I was like, one day I was like, well, let me check this video out, and then the next day it's 2 videos, it's 3 videos, and
Mm.
I started
That-
getting into different cybersecurity documentaries,
yeah.
and I just found it mind blowing. So that just led into a whole new career, man.
That's awesome. So from basically what you said, so the desire for like tech and cybersecurity, was that basically at that point of like, hey, I'm doing pest control, I want to, I'm interested in something else. I want to start exploring this. Or did you already have a, hey, growing up, I like tech? Or is it like, hey, no, I came about it at this point in my career and I went
Hmm.
with it.
I did. I actually did enjoy tech growing up. I was a big gamer back in the day,
Hey,
way before Xbox Live and things of that nature. I grew up taking Gameboys apart
hey,
and putting them back together.
apart. Wow.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. My mom killed me a few times for it. But
So which one did you have so I grew up, I had two. So I had the original like green one that was hard. And then I moved into like the Game Boy Advance. Do you remember which one like you're referring to?
I had the original, but do you remember the gray one?
Oh, so yeah. You had even the one. Yeah. I never had that, but I've
Yeah.
seen that one. Wow. Okay. No,
Yeah.
you respect. So you would take, so you would take them apart, figure out how to put them back together. Like,
Hmm.
were you ever successful, or was it just like, I don't know?
First one I blasted. No, the first one was horrible. But my mom, she made me do allowance chores and things like that to get up enough money to get another one. I was able to buy another one, and that one was a hit. I was successful with that one.
Awesome, man. So yeah, this is crazy. So, yeah, with even pest control, so like putting things together. Yeah, so I think it's always interesting to see people who are in tech of like when you trace it back, it's
Hmm.
just like I can see why you arrived at where you're at based on like what you've learned and also your personality. Um, so I would say now that we've kind of talked about where you came from, your kind of early, I guess, early impressions with tech. I know that you're currently you're an IT tech sysadmin at Dosher Memorial Hospital. Am I saying that right?
That's correct. Hmm.
So how did that come about? So it's like we had pest control, we had logistics. How do we go to Dosher? How did that opportunity come about?
My journey is kind of crazy. So while listening to these different podcasts,
Mhm.
I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
I had want to give a shout out to 1150 Academy.
Okay.
They really, really stuck with me, and this was back when I had no idea on what I really wanted to do or what direction I wanted to go in. And there was a guy there. He kept reaching out to me about IT and
Hmm.
about if I was interested in getting into cybersecurity, and I was, but at the time I just wasn't ready to take the leap. I guess I don't know. I guess maybe I didn't have enough confidence at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and so last year, at the beginning of last year, I finally took the leap. It was, I think, a 4 to 6 month course, and I studied nonstop, gained certifications along the way, a lot of self study along the way, and I started applying for jobs. I want to say around April or May of last year, and I probably applied for 350, 400 jobs plus.
Really?
Yeah, and I got so many no's, man. I got so many no's in the beginning. And I finally had a few interviews lined up. I got ghosted a few times.
Man,
And
even on interviews.
yep, and Dosher, they reached out to me and interview went great. I built the rapport with the HR on LinkedIn and they hired me. Yep.
Wow. So there's a lot. Okay. So there's a lot there. So you because that was actually one of my questions about how did you kind of prepare yourself for the role you're in now. So 1150, that's a tech boot camp.
It's a tech boot camp. Yep, for coding and cybersecurity.
And cybersecurity. Okay. So you did 1150. You said that was for 4 to 6 months.
Yep.
And as you're doing that, as you're doing that, you're applying, you said 350 places?
Yep. I counted. I created an Excel spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
So for each employer that I applied for, if it worked out, I would check it. If not, I would put an X by it, and I will put Y, and just kept going down the list. It ended up being close to 400 jobs. What it ended up being close to.
Man, and the funny thing is, I'm glad like you're speaking about that, because I think people hear about, hey, getting into tech and cybersecurity, like it's great and it's a great field, but I think a lot of people don't always hear that, hey, it's not like automatic.
No.
Even taking that tech boot camp, it's not like, okay, I did it and a week or two I got a job. Like I know that happens for some people, but like I think having that realistic of like, hey, it may be some time before I get that opportunity, and having that, I guess, resilience of like, hey, I'm not going to quit. Like I'm going to keep going at it. And I think honestly, I don't know if you've thought about it. I keep going back to that pest control thing because the more I hear about it, I can see. I'm sure on that job, you get to that school, you get to that restaurant, and it's just like, okay, I've been there for a little bit. I've tried, plan 1 and plan 2, it's not working. And it's just like, okay, hey, listen, I don't know how what the payment structure was, but it's like, hey, they called us here for this job, and if we don't find something, we're probably not going to get invited back, or they're going to go with the other guy or other gal down the street. So, we've got to got to think outside the box here. You can't quit.
Yeah.
And so it's, I guess, do you feel like being on those jobs is just like, I don't care if we're here all night, like we're going to get it. We're going to find these pests. We're going to, terminate them. Do you think that helped you of just like, hey, these jobs are like pests. I just got to keep searching, and eventually I'm going to figure out how to kill it.
I would agree. And this goes out to anyone who's looking to get into tech. Just stay persistent. What worked for me may not work for someone else, but if I could give anyone any advice, it would be just to stay persistent. And those no's, it's okay. Just try to stay persistent, stay positive, and eventually it only takes one yes. That's all it takes is one yes. Just get used to being rejected. It happens. It's a part of the game, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, that's great for you to say. And I will tell you, even for somebody who's in tech, like after you get in, obviously, you'll try to get that promotion, or you'll find a spot that you think is going to help your career more. There's no's after that. Like people, I don't want to persuade you. It's like, hey, I'm in. It's like, that's it. It's just like, well, no, you're going to have to, either get promoted, go somewhere else. And there's going to be some rejection there. Yeah. It happens. And it's just kind of about how you respond. So that's great for you to hear. The other thing I wanted to talk about within your bio is you were talking about, you doing exercises on your home lab at home. And so just, Carval, can you explain to people who may not know, what do you mean by a home lab, and how did you go about like setting yours up?
So a home lab would be somewhat like trying to create your own environment. It could be however you would like it to be. It could be, you could create it to where it's like a work environment where you create users and you troubleshoot different issues that your invisible users may have. You look for, like we talked about earlier, you look for adversaries. You try to create threats and try to figure out ways to counterpart those threats. So for me, I looked at a lot of self-study stuff on YouTube and learned how to create a lab that way. YouTube was my best friend when trying to figure out how to build a lab. And I figured out a lot of ways to build labs. VirtualBox is a good way to create a home lab environment. You have Azure. You can create a cloud lab. So for me, I started with VirtualBox. I downloaded VirtualBox, and I also downloaded. Now I've been working on SOC stuff of late. I created a SIM. And for people who don't know what a SIM is it's an event manager, a security event manager, and I use that to check different alerts and learn how to read those alerts and learn how to read those incidents and document stuff. But
So
there's
that when you're on your job as a SOC analyst, it's like, hey, I've already kind of gone through that training, so when it's real, I know how to better respond, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So no, that's great. VirtualBox I've used on a job to create a virtual environment when I was testing a mobile app. So VirtualBox I'm familiar with. Azure I haven't played around with from the cloud perspective, but I know cloud is very much in demand. So having a cloud lab, home lab that's pretty sweet. I was going to ask about what home lab projects that you were doing, but you went ahead and answered that. So thank you for that. I guess how many do you have, like a schedule for like this year of, hey, here's like a home lab that I'd like to do that maybe I haven't had time to do quite yet?
Right now, my main focus is I play around with a lab that I built from Let's Defend. Let's Defend is a great resource for anyone who's trying to get into cyber, maybe on a blue team, possibly. If you're looking to try to become a SOC analyst or incident responder, Let's Defend has been phenomenal. I'm like 51, 52 days in, and I learned so much about SOC environments just from that platform. But currently, I'm working on studying for my CompTIA CISA right now.
Yep.
And I hear that's a pretty tough one. So I've been putting a lot of focus towards that.
And so for that, that's the SYSA plus, correct? Yeah. So I took the red team version of that, which is the pen test plus, just because it transitions with my job. But I would say, if I was on the blue team, I would have taken that one. So yeah, that's awesome. Do you have like a I guess date of like when you'd like to take it?
April. I would like to take it in April. Yep.
Okay. All right. We'll be monitoring, man. Hoping the studying is going well. I'm sure you'll kill it. The other thing I think that you mentioned was probably a good segue of your 51 days into Let's Defend. I was looking at your LinkedIn and I saw last year, and I have to make sure I'm speaking the right year, of the beginning of last year of 2022. I saw that you had a desire to become a web developer, and then you started a 100-day code challenge. And then after about a week, you realized, you wanted to pivot into focusing more on cybersecurity. How did you, I guess, kind of come to that decision?
I would say it was more of an interest for me.
Yeah.
The more and more I learned about cybersecurity in my downtime, the more and more I wanted to do it. Like even when I started learning how to code in the beginning, I was still sneaking off and keeping track on what was going on in cybersecurity. And I was just like, wow, I have more of a passion for this than I do for coding. And I know it will correlate eventually, but my passion is for cyber. I would much rather do something that I have a passion for than to not. So
no, that makes sense. And honestly, I also looked again, is that, after you, kind of pivoted off of the 100 days of code, you did the 100 days of cybersecurity. Yep. The funny thing is not funny, but the amazing is you finished it.
Yep.
Like I see a lot of people, start, but you literally got to 100 days, which is should be congratulated.
Appreciate
so
that.
What was probably like during that 100 days? What was the most memorable moment from that experience of just consistently 100 days focusing on cybersecurity?
While I was doing that, I was actually studying to get my Net Plus, my Network Security Plus, and my Security Plus.
Yeah.
I got both certifications throughout that time span, and I just stuck with it. I would say that was most memorable, was walking out of that school like, wow, I done it. This has been a battle for the last 2 years of me debating on if I should get these certifications or not, if I should really try to get into tech. And I just stuck with it. It worked. Just stay persistent.
Right. Staying persistent. I'm hearing that over and over again.
Okay.
And so the other thing is Carval, I saw, and this was toward the end of last year, 2022, I saw that after your 100 days of cybersecurity, you said, you know what, I'm going to double down for another challenge of 100 days of SOC,
Yep.
which is honestly what we've been talking about now.
Yep.
So my question is, why do you like, these 100-day challenges yeah, let's go with that. So you just, I know everybody learns differently. Is that kind of like what you need to learn of like, I need to just keep going?
For me, I've learned that if I treat what I'm trying to learn like a boot camp, like it's in a boot camp atmosphere, it keeps me motivated to want to do it. Like right now I'm going on day 26, but I've been doing the Let's Defend challenge 25 plus more days. So it keeps me motivated to keep doing it. It gives me more things to learn about, more people to network with, more people to help that are trying to do those challenges as well, who may need some guidance, who may need somebody to just pat them on the back and say it's going to be all right. It helps keep me motivated, and it helps me to keep others motivated as well.
Right. And then, so I think with this 100 days of SOC, so I know with the dosher position, tell me, walk me back about when you got the dosher position and then when you started the 100 days of SOC. Like, did one happen before the other?
So I technically landed the dosher role in October.
Right.
But I started in November. And
officially.
Officially started in November. The SOC challenge started afterwards. The SOC challenge started around December, I think, early mid-December, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's how that worked out.
Okay, so yeah, it's more of, okay, now that I'm here, I want to keep this thing going. I want to continue to get better at my craft. Okay, no, that makes sense. So, Carval, we're here. It's January 2023. As far as just like this year, like from a career standpoint, obviously you want to learn, but like, is there, other than the CISA Plus, is there any other future goals that you have for yourself in like cybersecurity from hey, I want to learn this to like, I'd love to be in this type of position?
Eventually, I would like to pivot into security engineer. Eventually.
What about that position? I guess, have you heard that makes you kind of want to pivot down that way or go down that track?
I feel like for me personally, I feel like it would be more of a challenge for me. And guess you can say I'm a critical thinker. I love challenges, help keep me motivated. So
you know what? I see it now.
Yep. So I not to say that becoming a SOC wouldn't be a challenge. I know it would be a challenge, but I feel like the engineer side of things, to be able to structure something, break it apart, put it back together, see what works, what doesn't, will be more of a challenge for me in the future.
Yeah, and also I would say, again, based on what we talked about, that actually goes into kind of your life experience about breaking apart the Game Boy, figuring out how it works, and then it's more of like, okay, how can we make this more secure? And then obviously the pest control of breaking into not so much breaking into, but breaking down, I guess, the layout of a building, and figuring out where the weaknesses are, and then I'm assuming in that job, once you had, found all the critters, you probably had some type of like report, or you told them like, hey, these are where they're congregating, and you're probably going to want to use this solution or these traps to make sure it's not, it's harder for them next time, right?
Yeah. And it's funny we keep going back to that. It really correlated so much into my career into tech and cyber. It really did. It really transpired into that. So it's funny that you say that, but it's truthful.
Yes, I just want to make sure people understand, like, I came in, I came in from tech and then I transitioned to cybersecurity. But I understand that is not everybody's journey. And some people may think, hey, I'm not in tech. So I don't have a tech background, so it may be hard for me to get in, or like, I don't know anything about tech, so it may be hard for me to get into cybersecurity. That's not true. I think everybody from where you're at, just think about the transferable skills that you do bring. Because everybody can learn, but it's just like there's transferable skills that I hope people don't just throw away. Of like, I can't use that. Because there's a lot in there. So Carval, as we wrap up, do you have anything else that you wanted to like say before we end it? Anything you want to plug, shout out, anything of that nature?
Like I said before, big shout out to the 1150 Academy in Indianapolis, Indiana. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You helped kickstart my journey into tech. And without you guys, I don't know, maybe possibly, I don't know, would have taken me another year or so. I don't know. But thank you guys so much. Big shout out to you, because in the beginning of that journey, a lot of people don't know, you were one of the first people that I actually met in cyber and reached out to on LinkedIn. To any newbies looking to get into the game, network as much as possible. This guy right here, man, Devin really helped me out a lot in the beginning, and a lot of people don't know that, but networking with him, and we've stayed in contact on and off for it's been what, a year now, right?
Yep.
And look, I took his advice, stay consistent, and I was able to land a job in tech. You guys can do it. Just stay consistent. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I have no problems helping anyone out.
Awesome. Thanks, Carval, so much for coming on the show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Until next time.